When a glass of wine stained a millionaire's dress, hundreds watched in silence as the maid was humiliated before them all. What they didn't know was that she'd been gathering secrets that would bring them all down. The ballroom glows like something out of a dream. Crystal chandeliers catch the light from 100 different angles, scattering it across marble floors so polished they look wet. Champagne glasses clink in rhythm with laughter that echoes off vaulted ceilings. Camera flashes pop in bursts, freezing moments that will appear in tomorrow's society pages. At the center of it all stands a woman in a plain black uniform. Her name is Diane Carter, and her hands are shaking. She holds a microphone. The silver mesh feels cold against her palm. Around her, 300 of the wealthiest, most powerful people in Ravenhill Bay have gone completely silent. The string quartet in the corner has stopped mid-measure. Waiters stand frozen with trays balanced on their fingertips. Everyone is watching her. A woman in a white couture gown steps closer. Victoria Hale. Her dress is stained with red wine down the front, but her face is perfectly composed. She doesn't look angry. She looks patient, the way a teacher might look at a child who's about to confess to breaking something valuable. "Go ahead," Victoria says softly. Her voice carries across the ballroom without effort. "Tell them who you really are." Diane's throat feels tight. She can't swallow. She can't speak. She looks down at the floor at the wine stains spreading across white marble like blood in water. Somewhere in the crowd, a man clears his throat. Someone else whispers something Diane can't hear. Victoria tilts her head, still smiling. "We're all waiting." Diane opens her mouth. But before she can speak, before she can say the words Victoria wants her to say, the story needs to pull back. Because what happens in this ballroom, in this frozen moment, under these glittering lights, didn't start tonight. It started months ago. It started with silence, with invisible hands polishing floors no one would remember, with a woman who learned to see everything while being seen by no one. It started the first time Diane Carter looked into the eyes of an 8-year-old boy and recognized the one thing she'd been searching for her entire life. And it started the moment she realized that some people will do anything to protect what they love, even if it means collecting evidence in the dark, even if it means waiting in silence, even if it means standing in front of 300 people and letting them think she's powerless. The microphone trembles in her hand. The crowd waits. 6 months earlier, Diane wakes to the sound of rain against glass. It's 5:30 in the morning. The sky outside her apartment window is still dark, streaked with water that catches the glow of streetlights below. She lies still for a moment, listening to Marcus breathe beside her. His arm is draped across her waist, warm and heavy with sleep. She doesn't wake him. Instead, she slips out from under the covers and moves through their small bedroom in the dark. Her uniform hangs on the back of the door, freshly pressed. Black pants, white shirt, black vest. She dresses quietly, efficiently, the way she's done every morning for the past 3 years. By 6:15, she's driving through empty streets toward the cliffs that overlook Ravenhill Bay. The Sharpwood estate sits at the highest point, a sprawling mansion built in the 1920s by a shipping magnate who wanted everyone below to see his success. Now it belongs to Victoria and Edward Hale. The iron gates open automatically as Diane's car approaches. Security cameras track her progress up the winding driveway. She parks in the staff lot behind the garage, next to the groundskeeper's truck and the chef's sedan. Inside, the house is already awake. Kitchen staff move through the prep area with practiced efficiency. Diane nods to Maria, the head cook, who's pulling fresh pastries from the oven. The smell of butter and sugar fills the air, rich and warm. Diane doesn't eat breakfast here. She never has. She takes the back staircase to the second floor, where the family bedrooms are located. Her cart is waiting in the hallway closet, stocked with fresh linens, cleaning supplies, and the particular brand of lavender room spray Victoria prefers. Diane loads everything methodically, checking each item twice. This is her world. Marble floors that need polishing, windows that need washing, rooms that need to be perfect before the family wakes. She is good at being invisible. It's a skill she's cultivated carefully over 3 years of working in this house. She knows how to move through doorways without making sound. She knows how to fold towels so the edges line up exactly. She knows that Victoria likes her coffee at 7:45, precisely 15 minutes before she comes downstairs, and that Edward prefers his newspaper ironed flat to remove the creases. She knows these things because noticing is how you survive in a place like this. The Hales are not cruel employers in any obvious way. They pay on time. They follow labor laws. They've never raised their voices at Diane or treated her with open disrespect. But there's a distance between them and the staff that feels wider than the actual space of the rooms. They look through people like Diane, not at them, which is fine. Diane prefers it that way. She starts in the guest wing, changing sheets in rooms that haven't been slept in for weeks. The Hales keep these spaces ready for visitors who rarely come, for business associates who might stay overnight, for appearances that must be maintained even when no one is watching. By 8 o'clock, she's moved to the library, dusting shelves lined with leather-bound books that no one reads. This is where Edward conducts his business calls, where he meets with lawyers and accountants and foundation directors. Diane has learned to time her cleaning for when the room is empty, but sometimes she's still there when meetings begin. They never ask her to leave. They simply talk as if she isn't there. She's heard things, conversations about tax shelters and donor cultivation and publicity strategies, discussions about which children photograph best for the Foundation's annual report, debates about whether to expand the charity's mission or keep it narrowly focused for better optics. Diane never repeats what she hears. She never even acknowledges that she's heard it. She dusts the shelves and empties the trash and moves on to the next room. This is her life, small and quiet and predictable. She goes home each evening to Marcus, who works as an electrician and smells like wire insulation and coffee. They eat dinner together at their kitchen table. They watch television. They talk about ordinary things like grocery lists and utility bills, and whether they should repaint the bathroom. They don't talk about the thing that hangs between them, heavy and unspoken. The empty bedroom at the end of their hallway. The one they painted yellow 4 years ago before the first miscarriage. The one that still has a crib in the corner, disassembled and leaning against the wall because neither of them can bring themselves to give it away. They don't talk about the fertility treatments that failed, the specialists who used words like unexplained and unfortunate, and perhaps it's time to consider other options. The way Diane's body feels like a promise it can't keep. Marcus holds her at night and tells her it's okay, that they have each other, that they can still have a full life. And Diane believes him mostly. But there's a hollowness inside her that nothing seems to fill. So she polishes marble floors at the Shopwood estate and moves through rooms like a ghost and tells herself that this is enough. This small life, this invisible existence. She tells herself this right up until the morning she walks past a partly open door on the second floor and hears a child crying. The sound stops Diane in the middle of the hallway. It's soft, muffled, like someone trying very hard not to be heard. She stands with her hand on the cleaning cart, listening. The door is open just enough to see inside. Blue wallpaper, a bookshelf, the corner of a bed. She shouldn't look. It's not her business. The Hales have made it clear that certain areas are private, that staff should move through their duties without curiosity. But the crying continues and Diane finds herself stepping closer. Through the gap, she sees him. A boy, maybe 7 or 8, sitting on the edge of a bed with his knees pulled to his chest, his face buried in his arms. His shoulders shake with silent sobs. Diane recognizes him immediately. She's seen his photograph downstairs, part of a gallery wall showcasing the Hope for Tomorrow Foundation's success stories. In the photo, he's smiling, standing between Victoria and Edward. The caption reads, "Noah Bennett, Finding Hope." But the child in front of her now looks nothing like that photograph. He looks terrified. Diane knocks softly on the doorframe. The boy's head snaps up. His eyes are red, face blotchy with tears. He stares at her like she might hurt him. "I'm sorry," Diane says quietly. "I didn't mean to disturb you. I'm just cleaning the hallway." The boy says nothing. He wipes his face and turns away, curling tighter into himself. Diane should leave, but something keeps her standing there, something in the way the child holds himself, like he's trying to take up as little space as possible. "Are you okay?" she asks. It's a stupid question. Obviously, he's not okay. The boy doesn't answer. After a moment, Diane steps back and continues down the hallway, but the image of him stays with her. She learns more about Noah over the following weeks, not because anyone tells her, but because she pays attention. He lives in that guest room on the second floor, eats breakfast alone in the small dining room, usually before the Hales wake up. Maria brings him toast and eggs. He eats in silence while reading. He's homeschooled by a tutor 3 times a week. The rest of the time he stays in his room. Diane never sees Victoria or Edward spend time with him. She sees them talk about him, though. She's in the library one afternoon when she hears Victoria on the phone. "Of course we'll bring Noah to the gala. The donors love seeing him. It makes everything feel more real. We'll get some beautiful photos for the website." A pause. "No, he's fine. Very well adjusted. Sweet child." Naturally, there's some trauma from his background, but that's exactly why the foundation exists. We're giving him stability, opportunity, a future he wouldn't have had otherwise. Diane finishes with the flowers and leaves without making a sound. She starts noticing other things. Files left open on Edward's desk. Financial reports with line items that don't make sense. Donation receipts that list different amounts from public materials. Folders labeled with children's names, including Noah's, full of documents that feel wrong. She notices the way foundation board members talk during meetings, clinical language about placement optimization and donor engagement metrics, and visual storytelling opportunities. She notices that Noah flinches when Edward's voice gets loud, even when Edward isn't angry, even when he's just talking on the phone in another room. She notices that no one touches the boy. No one hugs him or ruffles his hair or puts a hand on his shoulder. He moves through the house like a photograph come to life, present but not real, seen but not known. And she notices the way her chest tightens every time she sees him. It's not pity exactly. It's something deeper. Recognition, maybe. The sense of looking at someone who's learned to make themselves small, who's learned that being invisible is safer than being seen. Diane knows that feeling. She's been practicing it her whole life, but there's a difference between choosing invisibility and having it forced on you. There's a difference between hiding and being erased. Noah is 8 years old, and he's disappearing right in front of everyone, and no one seems to notice. No one except Diane. It starts with a book. Diane finds it on the floor outside Noah's room one morning, spine cracked and pages bent where it's been dropped. The cover shows a dragon and a castle. She picks it up, smoothing the damaged pages carefully. She knocks on the door, no answer. She knocks again, softer this time. "Noah, you dropped your book." A long silence. Then footsteps, light and hesitant. The door opens a few inches. Noah's face appears in the gap, eyes wary. "I thought you might want it back," Diane says, holding it out. He takes it quickly, mumbling something that might be thank you. "It looks like a good story," Diane adds. Noah glances up at her, surprised. "You've read it?" "No, but I like dragons." The corner of his mouth almost smiles, almost. Then he closes the door. It's not much, but it's something. The next week, Diane brings him a different book from the library downtown. She leaves it outside his door with a note that says, "Thought you might like this one too." She doesn't expect anything back. She's not trying to get his attention or earn his trust. She just knows what it feels like to be alone, and she knows that books can be company when people aren't. 3 days later, she finds a drawing slipped under her cleaning cart. It's done in colored pencil, a dragon breathing fire across a detailed castle. In the corner, in careful letters, "Thank you." Diane keeps it folded in her pocket for the rest of the day. After that, something shifts. Noah starts leaving his door open when she cleans the hallway. He doesn't talk to her, but he doesn't hide either. Sometimes she catches him watching her from his room, and she'll smile at him, just a small one, nothing that demands a response. One afternoon, she finds him in the library. He's sitting in the window seat with a book, knees drawn up, trying to make himself invisible the way he always does. "Good spot," Diane says as she dusts the shelves nearby. "The light's perfect there." Noah nods, but doesn't speak. Diane continues working, not pushing, not asking questions. After a few minutes, Noah says quietly, "Do you have kids?" The question hits her like a punch to the chest. She stops, cloth in hand, and has to take a breath before answering. "No," she says, "but I'd like to someday." "Why don't you?" It's such a simple question, so innocent. Diane turns to look at him, at this small boy who has no idea what he's asking. "Sometimes things don't work out the way we hope," she says carefully. "But that doesn't mean we stop hoping." Noah considers this. "My mom didn't want me," he says. His voice is flat, factual. "That's why I'm here." Diane's heart cracks open. She sets down her cleaning supplies and moves closer, but not too close. "I'm sorry," she says. "That must hurt very much." He shrugs, looking down at his book. "It's okay. Mrs. Hale says I'm lucky. She says lots of kids don't get houses like this." "You are lucky," Diane says. Then more quietly, "But you're also allowed to feel sad sometimes." Noah looks up at her, really looks at her, and for the first time she sees past the careful blankness he wears like armor. She sees a child who's been told he should be grateful, who's been taught that his feelings are less important than appearances, who's learned to carry grief silently because no one wants to hear it. She sees herself at 8 years old, learning the same lessons. "I have to finish cleaning," Diane says gently. "But if you ever want to talk or if you need anything, you can ask me, okay?" Noah nods. He doesn't smile, but he doesn't look away either. That night, Diane lies in bed next to Marcus and stares at the ceiling. She can feel him watching her in the darkness. "What are you thinking about?" he asks. She's quiet for a long time. "There's a boy," she finally says, "at the house where I work. He's so alone, Marcus, and no one cares." Marcus takes her hand. "But you care." "Yes," Diane whispers, "I do." She doesn't say the rest of it. That when she looks at Noah, she sees the child she'll never have. That when she sits with him, the emptiness inside her doesn't feel quite so vast. That for the first time in years, she feels like a mother. The change happens gradually, the way morning light creeps across a room. Diane starts arriving at the estate 15 minutes earlier each day. She tells herself it's to get ahead on work, to be more efficient. But the truth is simpler. She wants to see Noah. She brings him books from the library, leaves small snacks outside his door on days when he looks too thin, learns his schedule, his routines, and slowly, carefully, he begins to trust her. He talks more now, about the stories he's reading, the birds he watches from his window, the drawings he makes when he can't sleep. Diane listens to all of it, storing every detail. She learns he has nightmares, that he's afraid of loud noises, that he likes peanut butter but not jelly, that his favorite color is green because it reminds him of forests where dragons might live. She learns he calls the Hales Mr. and Mrs. Hale, never anything more familiar. She learns he hasn't seen his grandmother in over a year. That last detail catches her attention. She's cleaning Edward's office one morning when she sees a file on his desk. Bennett, Noah, placement documentation. She shouldn't look, but her hand moves before her mind can stop it. Inside are legal documents. Certain phrases jump out. legal guardian status, family contact restrictions, foundation custody arrangement, and then grandmother Patricia Bennett, financial settlement agreement. Diane's hands go cold. She hears footsteps and quickly closes the folder, returning to dusting as Edward walks in. He barely glances at her. Diane finishes and leaves, but the words stay with her. Financial settlement agreement. That night she can't stop thinking about it. She lies awake next to Marcus. "What's wrong?" Marcus asks. "Everything," she says. "Tell me." She tells him about Noah, about the documents, about the feeling that something isn't right, about the grandmother who isn't allowed to visit, about the way the foundation uses Noah's face in publicity but treats him like furniture. "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking that boy has family, real family. And I don't know why he's here instead of with them." Marcus is quiet. "Be careful, these are powerful people. I know. If they're doing something wrong, you can't fix it by yourself." "I'm not trying to fix anything," Diane says, but she knows that's not entirely true. The next day she starts paying closer attention, not just to Noah but to everything around him. Conversations overheard, documents left on desks, phone calls conducted in rooms where people assume the cleaning woman isn't listening. She doesn't plan it at first. It's just instinct, maternal and fierce, the need to understand whether the child she's come to love is truly safe. Then she starts seeing patterns. She's in the library when Victoria meets with the Foundation's communications director. They're planning the annual gala, discussing which children to feature. "Noah photographs beautifully," the director says, very sympathetic. "Donors respond well to him." "He's perfect for it," Victoria agrees. "Quiet, well-behaved, exactly the kind of success story we want to showcase." "And his background? The abandonment narrative? Tragic, but not too complicated. Easy for people to understand. We'll keep it simple in the talking points." Diane's hands still on the bookshelf. "We should probably prepare him for the event. Make sure he knows what to say if anyone asks questions." "Already handled," Victoria says. "He knows to smile, thank the donors, and say how grateful he is. He's very good at following instructions." They move on to discussing auction items. Diane finishes her work and leaves, but her mind is racing. That evening, she stops at an office supply store. She buys a small USB drive. She doesn't know exactly what she's planning. She just knows she needs to start keeping records. She needs proof, not for revenge, not for justice, but because if anything happens to Noah, if someone tries to hurt him or throw him away when he's no longer useful, she needs to be able to fight back. She needs to protect him. That night, she creates a folder on her laptop. N. She starts writing down everything she remembers. Dates, conversations, observations. It's not much yet, but it's a beginning. Marcus watches from the doorway of their spare bedroom, where she set up her computer. "What are you doing?" Diane doesn't look up. "Protecting our son," she says. The words hang in the air between them. Marcus doesn't correct her. He doesn't remind her that Noah isn't their son, that he belongs to the state or the foundation. He just walks over and kisses the top of her head. "Okay," he says quietly. "Then let's protect him." The transformation happens overnight. Diane arrives at the estate on the morning of the gala to find the entire house consumed by preparation. Florists carry enormous arrangements through the front doors, white roses and orchids that probably cost more than Diane makes in a month. A team of lighting specialists moves through the ballroom, adjusting fixtures and testing colors. In the kitchen, Maria directs a staff of 20 as they prepare hors d'oeuvres that look more like art than food. The annual Hope for Tomorrow Gala is the social event of the season in Ravenhill Bay. 300 guests, a live auction. Speeches from local politicians and business leaders, and at the center of it all, Victoria and Edward Hale, glowing with the light of their own generosity. Diane spends the morning making sure every surface in the public areas is perfect. She polishes mirrors until they're invisible. She arranges flowers in the guest bathrooms. She checks that every towel is folded with the edges precisely aligned. She doesn't see Noah all morning. By afternoon, the event staff arrives. They set up bars in 3 corners of the ballroom. They arrange tables with white linens and gold-rimmed china. They position a podium at the front of the room where Victoria will give her speech about changing lives and creating futures. Diane is wiping down the banister on the main staircase when she hears a door open on the 2nd floor. She looks up and sees Noah emerging from his room, dressed in a suit that looks slightly too large for him. His hair has been combed flat. His face is pale. Victoria appears behind him, elegant in a dressing gown, her hair in rollers. "Remember what we discussed," she says to Noah. Her voice is pleasant but firm. You smile when people talk to you. You thank them for their support. You tell them how grateful you are for this opportunity. Noah nods without speaking. And if anyone asks you questions about your family, what do you say? That I'm happy here, Noah recites. That the foundation saved my life. Good boy. Victoria pats his shoulder once briefly, then returns to her room. Noah stands alone in the hallway. He looks down at Diane, and their eyes meet. She sees the fear there, the resignation. He looks like a prisoner being prepared for execution. Diane wants to run up the stairs, to take him by the hand and walk him out of this house and never come back. But she stays where she is, frozen by the weight of reality. She has no legal right to him, no claim, no authority. All she can do is smile at him, trying to put every ounce of warmth and reassurance into that small gesture. Noah doesn't smile back, but he holds her gaze for a moment before turning and walking back into his room. By evening, the house is transformed into something out of a magazine. The ballroom glows with hundreds of candles and strings of lights that look like stars. The bar tops shine. The flowers perfume the air. Everything is beautiful and perfect and cold. The guests begin arriving at 7. Diane watches from her position near the service entrance as they flood through the front doors. Designer gowns in every color, jewelry that catches the light, laughter that sounds rehearsed. These are people who are used to beautiful things, to exclusive events, to knowing they belong in spaces like this. Diane and the other service staff have been given specific instructions. They're to move through the crowd offering drinks and appetizers. They're to be polite but not chatty. They're to be present but invisible. Diane puts on the uniform they've provided, a black dress with a white apron. She joins the other servers in the kitchen where Maria is orchestrating the evening like a general commanding troops. "Smile," Maria says to all of them. "Be gracious. Don't speak unless spoken to. And for God's sake, don't spill anything." Diane picks up a tray of champagne glasses and enters the ballroom. The noise hits her immediately. 300 people talking at once, their voices bouncing off the high ceilings and marble floors. She moves through the crowd, offering drinks, clearing empty glasses, trying not to make eye contact with anyone. She feels the social divide like a physical barrier. These people exist in a different world than she does. Their clothes probably cost more than her car. Their casual conversations are about vacation homes and investment portfolios and which charity boards are worth joining. She's just the woman holding the tray. At 8 o'clock, the lights dim slightly and music plays. Edward Hale takes the podium. He's handsome in his tuxedo, silver hair perfectly styled, smile warm and practiced. "Thank you all for being here tonight," he begins. "Your presence represents more than just support, it represents hope." The crowd applauds. Edward talks about the foundation's work, the lives they've changed, the children they've saved. He uses words like transformation and opportunity and second chances. He shows photos on a screen behind him, images of smiling children, of families reunited, of futures reimagined. Then Victoria joins him on stage. She's breathtaking in a white gown that flows around her like water. Her hair is swept up, her makeup flawless. She looks like an angel. like the embodiment of compassion and grace. "Tonight," she says, her voice clear and strong, "I want you to meet someone special. Someone who represents everything this foundation stands for." Diane's chest tightens. "Noah," Victoria says, gesturing toward the side of the room. "Would you join us?" The crowd turns. Diane turns with them, searching for Noah in the mass of people. He appears from a doorway, small and alone, walking slowly toward the stage. The crowd watches him. Some people smile. Others look moved, their hands pressed to their hearts. Noah climbs the steps to the podium. Victoria puts her hand on his shoulder, pulling him close for the cameras that flash like lightning. "This young man came to us with nothing," Victoria says, "and now, thanks to your generosity, he has everything: a home, an education, a future." She looks down at Noah. "Tell everyone how you feel, sweetheart." Noah looks out at the crowd. His face is blank, carefully controlled. "Thank you," he says quietly. "I'm very grateful." The crowd applauds. Some people wipe their eyes. Diane stands at the edge of the room, holding an empty tray, and watches the boy she loves be displayed like a trophy. Her hands clench so tightly her nails dig into her palms. The speeches continue. The auction begins. The party swells with music and champagne and self-congratulation. And Diane moves through it all, invisible and silent, carrying drinks to people who will never see her face. The accident happens at 9:45. Diane has been on her feet for over 2 hours, weaving through the crowd with trays of wine. Her back aches. Her feet hurt in the cheap dress shoes, but she keeps moving, keeps smiling politely, keeps being invisible. She's near the center of the ballroom when someone steps backward without looking. A man in an expensive suit, gesturing broadly while telling a story. His elbow catches Diane's tray at the exact wrong angle. Everything happens in slow motion. The tray tilts. 6 glasses of red wine slide toward the edge. Diane tries to correct, but momentum and gravity are already in control. The wine arcs through the air and lands directly on Victoria Hale's white gown. The music doesn't stop, but the silence that falls over the immediate area feels absolute. Conversations die. People turn to stare. Victoria stands frozen, looking down at the deep red stain spreading across her dress. It looks like blood against white fabric. Diane's heart stops. "I'm so sorry," she says immediately, setting down the tray with shaking hands. "I'm so sorry, Mrs. Hale. Let me get something to clean it." Victoria doesn't move. She doesn't speak. She just stares at the stain, face perfectly calm. That's what frightens Diane most. Not anger, but that terrible, controlled calm. Edward appears at Victoria's side, expression tight. "Get her out of here." But Victoria holds up one hand. "No, wait." The crowd has formed a loose circle. 50 people, maybe more, all watching. Some with concern, others with barely concealed excitement. Victoria looks up at Diane. Her eyes are cold, assessing. Then she smiles. It's the smile that tells Diane she's in real trouble. "It's all right," Victoria says, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Accidents happen." She gestures to event staff. "Could someone bring me a microphone?" Diane's stomach drops. "Mrs. Hale, I can clean it. I can fix this." "It's fine," Victoria says again, still smiling. "Really?" A staff member hurries over with a wireless microphone. Victoria takes it, tests it. The sound echoes through the ballroom. Now everyone is watching. The music stops. Victoria waits until she has complete attention. "I want to apologize for the disruption. As you can see, we've had a small mishap." A few people laugh politely, but I think we can turn this into a teaching moment. She turns to Diane. "What's your name?" "Diane," she whispers. "Diane. How long have you worked for us?" 3 years. 3 years. "And have we treated you well?" Diane knows a trap. "Yes, Mum." "Have we paid you fairly? Given you stable employment?" "Yes." Victoria turns to the crowd. "Diane came to us 3 years ago. She was struggling, working multiple jobs, barely making ends meet. She pauses. We gave her an opportunity. Steady work, good pay, a place in our home. None of this is true. Diane applied for an advertised position. She interviewed professionally, was hired based on references and experience. But Victoria is rewriting history in real time, and Diane is powerless to stop it. I believe in second chances, Victoria says. I believe in lifting people up. That's what this foundation is about. She looks at Diane. So even though you've embarrassed me in front of 300 guests, even though you've ruined an expensive gown, I want you to know that I forgive you. The crowd murmurs approvingly. Someone starts to clap. Victoria holds up the microphone to Diane. Why don't you tell everyone how you feel? Tell them what it means to work for people who believe in you. Diane stares at the microphone. Her hands tremble. She can feel 300 pairs of eyes on her. She knows what Victoria wants. She wants Diane to grovel, to perform gratitude, to validate Victoria's narrative of herself as a generous savior. Diane looks past Victoria into the crowd. And there, standing near the back wall, she sees Noah. He's small and alone, watching with wide, frightened eyes. Their gazes lock. In that moment, Diane understands something fundamental. If she fights back now, if she defends herself or challenges Victoria's story, she'll lose her job. She'll lose access to this house. She'll lose any ability to protect Noah. Sometimes fighting back isn't the answer. Sometimes survival means swallowing your pride and playing the role you've been assigned. Diane takes the microphone with shaking hands. The microphone feels impossibly heavy in Diane's hand. The ballroom has gone completely silent. Everyone is waiting. Victoria stands beside her, perfectly poised in her ruined white gown, the wine stain spreading like a wound. But her face shows no anger, just patient expectation. Go ahead, Victoria says softly, like a teacher coaxing a nervous student. Tell them. Diane's throat is so tight she's not sure she can speak. I'm grateful, she manages to say. Her voice comes out thin and small. For what? Victoria prompts. Be specific. For the job, for the opportunity to work here. And what was your situation before we hired you? Victoria's voice is gentle, but there's steel underneath. Tell everyone the truth. This is the lie Victoria wants her to repeat. The narrative of rescue and salvation. Diane could refuse. Could tell the crowd she was a working professional when she applied, that she earned this position. But she sees Noah across the room. She thinks about the USB drive hidden at home, the documents she's been copying, the evidence she's building. If she loses this job now, she loses everything. I was struggling, Diane says quietly. Each word tastes like ash. I needed help, and we gave you that help, didn't we? Victoria's hand rests on Diane's shoulder. The touch is light but feels like a weight pressing her down. We brought you into our home, we trusted you. Yes. So when you make a mistake like this, when you humiliate me in front of my guests, what does that say? Diane's hands shake so badly the microphone trembles. I don't know. It says you're ungrateful. Victoria's voice is still sweet, but the words cut like knives. It says you don't appreciate what you have. The crowd is completely still. Some people look uncomfortable, but no one speaks. No one intervenes. Victoria takes the microphone back. But that's okay, because we don't give up on people. She turns to Diane. I want you to say thank you. To me and to everyone here. Diane can feel her face burning. Tears press against her eyes, but she refuses to let them fall. Thank you, she whispers. Louder, so everyone can hear. Diane lifts her head. She looks at the crowd in their designer clothes and expensive jewelry. She looks at their faces, some sympathetic, some entertained. Then her eyes find Noah again. He's crying, silent tears running down his face, his hands clenched into fists. He's watching the only person who's been kind to him being humiliated, watching and powerless to stop it. Something hardens in Diane's chest. Thank you, she says clearly. "Thank you, Mrs. Hale, for this opportunity. Thank you to everyone here for your patience." The words are what Victoria wants, but Diane's voice is flat, empty. She's not performing gratitude. She's performing compliance. Victoria doesn't notice. She's already turning back to the audience, smile radiant. This is what compassion looks like. This is what it means to lift people up even when they disappoint us. The room begins to applaud. They're applauding Victoria's mercy. They're applauding Diane's humiliation. Victoria touches Diane's arm once more, leaning in close. "You can go clean yourself up, then go home. We'll discuss your future here on Monday." Diane nods. She walks through the crowd toward the service entrance. People part, but no one meets her eyes. She's invisible again, but now she's marked, humiliated, a cautionary tale. As she passes Noah, she sees him try to move toward her, but a staff member holds him back. His face is streaked with tears. Diane keeps walking. If she stops, she'll fall apart completely. She makes it to the staff room. She closes the door and leans against it, shaking. She spent 3 years making herself invisible in this house, and Victoria destroyed all of that in 5 minutes. Diane looks at herself in the mirror. Her face is pale, eyes bright with unshed tears. Wine stains dot her uniform. But that's not who she is, and it's not who she's going to be when this is over. She takes out her phone and opens voice memo. Her hands still shake, but she hits record. April 15th, Annual Hope for Tomorrow Gala. Victoria Hale publicly humiliated me in front of 300 donors after an accidental wine spill. She fabricated my employment history and forced me to thank her. Noah was present and witnessed everything. She saves the recording to her encrypted folder. Then she takes off her uniform, changes into regular clothes, and walks out of the estate. She doesn't look back. Diane doesn't sleep that night. She lies in bed next to Marcus, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of the evening in her mind, the weight of the microphone, Victoria's cold smile, 300 people watching her grovel, Noah's tears. Marcus holds her hand in the darkness. He hasn't asked for details. He doesn't need to. When she came home at 10:30 with mascara smudged under her eyes and wine stains on her bag, he just pulled her into his arms and held her. "What do you want to do?" he asks now, his voice soft in the quiet room. "I don't know yet," Diane whispers, "but I'm not done." Sunday passes in a blur. Diane organizes her files, backs up everything to the cloud, makes copies of copies. She has 3 years' worth of documentation now. Photos of financial records, audio recordings of meetings, emails she's photographed from Edward's computer, records of foundation expenditures that don't match public reports, and information about Noah. His real background, the grandmother who was paid to stay away, the legal loopholes that allowed the foundation to claim custody. She doesn't know what she's going to do with all of it yet, but she knows it's valuable. She knows its power. Monday morning, her phone rings at 8 o'clock. Unknown number. "Miss Carter," a woman's voice, professional and cold. "This is Helen from Sharpwood Estate Management. Mrs. Hale has asked me to inform you that your services are no longer required. Your final paycheck will be mailed to you. Please return any keys or property belonging to the estate by end of business today." The line goes dead before Diane can respond. She sits on the edge of her bed, phone in hand, and feels something like relief wash over her. She expected this, prepared for it, but there's still a sharp pain in her chest because being fired means losing access to the house, losing access to Noah. She drives to the estate one last time that afternoon. The security guard at the gate looks uncomfortable when he sees her car. "I'm just returning keys," Diane says. He nods and waves her through. The house feels different in daylight, empty of the glittering crowd, stripped of its party decorations. It's just a building now, large and cold and hollow. Maria meets her at the service entrance. Her face is kind but sad. "I'm sorry," she says. They didn't even tell us until this morning. It's okay, Diane says. I expected it. She hands over her keys, signs a form, accepts the box of personal items someone has packed from her locker. A sweater, a coffee mug, a framed photo of her and Marcus. Is Noah here? Diane asks quietly. Maria shakes her head. They took him to a doctor's appointment. Some kind of publicity thing, I think. Photos for the foundation newsletter. Of course, even now, they're using him. Can you give him something for me? Diane pulls a folded piece of paper from her pocket. It's a note she wrote this morning, carefully worded. Just tell him I didn't forget about him. Maria takes the note, glances at it, then tucks it into her apron. I'll make sure he gets it. Diane carries her box to the car. She loads it into the trunk. She takes one last look at the house, at the windows of Noah's room on the second floor. The curtain moves slightly. A small face appears, pressed against the glass. Noah. He raises one hand in a tentative wave. Diane waves back, fighting to keep her expression calm, to not let him see her breaking. She stands there until he disappears from the window, until she's sure he's gone. Then she gets in her car and drives away. The staff whispers about her for the rest of the week. The housekeeper who spilled wine on Mrs. Hale and got fired, the woman who couldn't handle the pressure, the help who forgot her place. Within a month, most of them will have forgotten her name. But Diane hasn't forgotten anything. She goes home to Marcus. She sits at their kitchen table and opens her laptop. She looks at the folders she's created, the evidence she's compiled, the 3 years of careful documentation. What now? Marcus asks, setting a cup of tea in front of her. Diane stares at the screen for a long moment. Then she opens her email and begins typing a message to the investigative unit of the Ravenhill Bay Tribune. Now, she says quietly, we start asking questions. The reporter's name is Jennifer Moss, and she sounds skeptical on the phone. I appreciate you reaching out, but we get a lot of tips about charitable organizations. Most don't go anywhere. This is different, Diane says from her car in a grocery store parking lot. I have documentation, financial records, audio recordings, 3 years of evidence. There's a pause. What kind of evidence? Misappropriated funds, falsified donor reports, children used for publicity, legal manipulation of custody arrangements. And you worked for the Hope for Tomorrow Foundation? I worked for Victoria and Edward Hale directly, in their home. I saw everything. Jennifer is quiet. Then, can we meet? They meet at a coffee shop 2 days later. Jennifer is younger than expected, maybe 30, with sharp eyes and a recorder on the table. Before we start, I need to know your motivation. Money? Revenge? I'm looking for a child to be safe, Diane says simply. She shows financial statements that don't match public filings, plays audio of Victoria discussing Noah as a visual asset. Jennifer's skepticism fades to focused attention. This is substantial, Jennifer says finally, but I'll need to verify everything independently. The Hales are powerful. If we run this story, they'll come after you hard. I'm prepared for that. Why now? Why after 3 years? Diane thinks about Noah's face at the window. Because I finally have something worth fighting for. The investigation takes 4 weeks. Jennifer requests public records, interviews former employees, follows money trails. Diane finds night work cleaning offices. She backs up her files daily, preparing for what's coming. The first article appears online on a Tuesday in late May. Questions raised about Hope for Tomorrow Foundation financial practices. It's careful, measured, laying out discrepancies without direct accusations. By afternoon, other outlets pick it up. The foundation's phones flood with concerned donors. Edward holds a press conference that evening, looking calm and confident. These accusations are completely false. We welcome any audit. Victoria appears beside him. We've dedicated our lives to helping children. It's heartbreaking someone would undermine that work. They don't mention Diane by name, but she knows they know. That night, she gets a text. "You have no idea what you've started. Stop now while you still can," she shows Marcus. "Should we call the police?" "No," Diane says. "They're trying to scare me. I'm more angry than scared." The next morning, Jennifer calls. "I have something. A former accountant willing to talk anonymously." What does she have? Everything. Internal memos. Audit reports never filed. Evidence of systematic manipulation going back 5 years. "When can you publish?" 2 weeks, maybe less." "Jennifer, there's a child involved. Every day he stays in that house is another day at risk. I know I'm moving as fast as I can." After hanging up, Diane thinks about Noah. She opens a text message and types, "I didn't forget you. I'm coming back. I promise." But she doesn't send it. There's no safe way to reach him. So she saves it in her drafts and waits. The second article drops on a Thursday morning, and this one has teeth. "Hope for Tomorrow Foundation, a pattern of financial misconduct." Jennifer's investigation reveals systematic fraud. Donations redirected to personal accounts, administrative expenses funding the Hales lifestyle, grant money claimed for services never provided. But what catches attention most is one buried line. Questions have also been raised about the legal status of children in the foundation's care. Diane reads it 3 times at her kitchen table, coffee going cold. Jennifer kept her promise. She didn't expose the full truth about Noah, but planted the seed. Made people start asking questions. The response is overwhelming. By noon, the story trends on social media. By evening, national outlets pick it up. The foundation's accounts flood with angry comments. Donors demand answers. Politicians who'd posed with the Hales suddenly distance themselves. Marcus finds Diane still at the table, scrolling through coverage. "How are you doing?" "I'm remembering why I started this," she says quietly. She tells him about the first time she saw Noah crying alone, the moment she realized no one actually cared about him as a person, only as a symbol for fundraising. "I didn't set out to take them down. I just wanted to understand if he was safe, if there was a real reason he couldn't be with his family." "And what did you find?" "That they were keeping him because he was useful. His story was tragic enough to move donors, but simple enough for a brochure." Her voice hardens. "His grandmother wanted him back, but they paid her off and convinced her she wasn't capable." She opens her laptop, showing hundreds of meticulously organized files. "I've been building this for 18 months. Every document photographed, every conversation recorded, every financial statement copied." Marcus stares. "You did all this alone?" "I had to. If I'd reported through official channels, they would have buried it. They have lawyers, connections, money." She clicks through folders, bank statements, legal documents, emails discussing Noah like a marketing asset. "I wasn't trying to be a hero. I was just trying to be a mother." Marcus takes her hand. "You are a mother. Maybe not the way we planned, but you are." Diane's eyes fill with tears. "We can't have our own child. But then I met Noah, and it was like a second chance. Not to replace what we lost, but to love a child who needed loving." "And that's why you're doing this?" "That's why I'm doing everything. Every piece of evidence was about building leverage, so when the time came, I'd have enough power to get him out." Her phone buzzes. "Jennifer." "Can you talk?" Diane calls immediately. "The FBI just opened an investigation," Jennifer says. "Federal prosecutors are looking at wire fraud and misuse of charitable funds. This is getting big." "What about Noah?" "Child Protective Services has been notified. They're investigating placement procedures." "Will they remove him?" "I don't know, but they're asking the right questions now." After hanging up, Diane sits in silence. They're investigating. Everything's happening faster than expected. Is that good? Diane thinks about Noah alone in that house, scared, confused about news vans and reporters shouting questions. "I don't know, but it started. And once it starts, there's no stopping it. She looks at the folder she hasn't shown Jennifer yet. The most damaging evidence, documentation of Noah's illegal classification, proof that could destroy Victoria but throw Noah into system chaos. Not yet, she thinks. Not unless there's no other choice. Whatever happens, we need a lawyer. A good one. Because I'm not done fighting. Marcus nods. Then we'll get one. And we need to prepare for them to come after us. They'll try to discredit me. Make me look unstable or vengeful. Let them try, Marcus says quietly. We know the truth. Diane walks to the window. Somewhere across the city, Noah is going to sleep in a house falling apart around him, with people who never wanted him as anything more than a tool. But not for much longer. I used to think I was powerless. That being invisible meant being weak. But I was wrong. Being invisible gave me access. Being underestimated gave me time. And being patient gave me everything I needed to bring them down. She turns to Marcus. They taught me to be invisible, and now I'm going to use that against them. The FBI arrives at Sharpwood Estate on a Tuesday morning in early June. Diane watches from her apartment. 6 black SUVs. Agents in dark suits carrying boxes. News helicopters circling overhead. The Chiron reads, Philanthropist Edward Hale, arrested on federal fraud charges. Marcus stands behind the couch, hands on Diane's shoulders. They watch Edward led out in handcuffs, wearing polo shirt and khakis, looking smaller than in his tuxedo. His lawyer walks beside him, already on the phone. Victoria appears at the door, pale but composed. She doesn't speak to reporters, just stands watching her husband put into a federal vehicle. Diane's phone buzzes. Jennifer, are you watching? Yes. They're charging him with wire fraud, money laundering, and misappropriation of charitable funds. The indictment is 43 pages. This is bigger than we thought. What about Victoria? Not charged yet. Investigation ongoing. They seized computers, files, financial records. If she's involved, they'll find it. What about the foundation? Suspended pending investigation. All operations halted. Assets frozen. And the children? Diane's voice tightens. Child Services is conducting emergency reviews of all placements. After hanging up, Diane sits in silence. This is what she wanted. Justice, exposure, accountability. So why does she feel sick? Because it's not finished, Marcus says. Noah's still there. The press conference happens that afternoon. The U.S. attorney outlines charges, donations diverted to personal accounts, fake invoices, grant money for luxury vacations. The foundation existed to enrich its founders, not help children. We are committed to holding accountable those who exploit generosity for personal gain. A reporter shouts, What about Victoria Hale? The investigation is ongoing. Another, What about the children? Are they safe? Child Protective Services is working to ensure safety. That's our top priority. But Diane knows top priority means committees and reviews taking weeks or months. Right now, Noah is still in that house with Victoria, who must be furious and desperate. She calls the Child Protective Services hotline, transferred 3 times before reaching someone. I need to report concerns about Noah Bennett. He's 8, currently with Victoria Hale. The intake worker sounds tired. We're aware of the situation. All children are being reviewed. You don't understand. He's not safe there. Victoria's under investigation. Her husband just got arrested, and that child is alone with her. I appreciate your concern, but we have protocols. I worked there. I know how they treat him. Please check on him today. A pause. I'll make a note. Someone will follow up within 72 hours. 72 hours? He could be gone by then. Ma'am, those are our guidelines. The line goes dead. Diane stares at her phone, fury and helplessness warring. They're not going to do anything. Not fast enough. What are you thinking? Diane pulls up her files she hasn't released yet. Evidence about Noah's illegal placement. Documents that could destroy Victoria, but expose Noah to emergency removal chaos. She's been holding this back, waiting for the right moment to use it to protect Noah instead of hurt him. Maybe that moment is now. I'm thinking it's time to stop playing by their rules. Diane doesn't sleep for 3 days. She sits at her kitchen table staring at files she's never released, complete documentation of Noah's placement, proof his grandmother was coerced, evidence the foundation manipulated legal processes to keep him classified as an orphan. This would destroy Victoria completely, but it would also trigger immediate investigation. Noah removed within hours, placed in emergency foster care while the system sorted the mess. Moved from home to home, the system would swallow him whole. Diane has researched what happens. Average emergency foster care time, 6 to 8 months. Number of moves before permanent placement, 3 to 5. Percentage experiencing trauma, nearly all. Noah has already been abandoned once, already learned adults can't be trusted. This would break him. Marcus brings coffee at 2 a.m. You need to sleep. I can't. Every choice hurts him. Tell me the options. Option 1. I release everything. Victoria goes down. Truth comes out. Justice served. She pauses. And Noah gets thrown into emergency foster care, loses his home, gets moved by strangers who see him as a case file. Option 2? I hold back the placement evidence. Victoria probably avoids charges. She loses reputation, foundation, social standing. But Noah stays where he is during investigation, which could take months. Diane's voice breaks. Months with a woman who must hate him, who probably blames him. Is there option 3? I've been trying to find one for 3 days. Marcus sits. What does your gut tell you? That I didn't spend 18 months collecting evidence to put him in more danger. The whole point was protecting him, not sacrificing him for justice. She looks up. But if I don't release this, Victoria might get away with it. Other children might end up the same. You can't save every child, Marcus says quietly. But you can save this one. Diane closes her eyes, thinking about Noah's face pressed against the window. His small hand waving goodbye, the trust in his eyes. I need to talk to a family lawyer, someone who specializes in custody cases. She finds a firm specializing in complicated custody cases. At 9 the next morning, she's sitting across from Patricia Chen, explaining everything. Let me understand, Patricia says. You have proof this placement was obtained through fraud, and you want custody yourself not to trigger state investigation. Yes. You're not related. You're a former employee. You have no legal standing. I know. Patricia studies her. Why do you want him? The truth is simple. Because I love him. Because he needs a mother, and I need to be his mother. Because we found each other and we belong together. Patricia pulls out a legal pad. Here's what we do. We file for emergency custody based on the child's best interests and your established relationship. We use your evidence not to destroy Victoria, but to demonstrate the current placement is fraudulent and harmful. Will it work? I don't know. But it's the only option, putting Noah's well-being first. And that's what matters, isn't it? Diane nods, feeling hope take root. We'll need character references, employment history, home study, financial documentation, and we move fast before Child Services decides. How fast? We file tomorrow. Request emergency hearing. Present evidence directly to a judge, argue you're the appropriate placement. Patricia looks up. And we pray the judge sees what you see, a child needing stability and a woman willing to fight for him. Diane leaves with paperwork and timeline. 48 hours to gather everything. She calls Marcus from her car. I think I found option 3. Tell me. We fight for him. Not against Victoria, not against the system, just for him. Her voice steadies. We ask for custody directly. Use evidence to prove he should be with us, not to punish anyone. Can we do that? Patricia thinks so. It's risky. The judge might deny it. The state might intervene. But it's the only path that doesn't hurt him. Then that's what we do. We fight for our son. Those words settle into Diane's heart like a key finding its lock. She drives home and gathers everything Patricia requested. Tax returns, marriage certificate, employment records, character letters. And she adds every note about Noah, every observation, every moment of connection, every reason they belong together. It's not revenge she's after, not even justice, really. It's love. And sometimes love means choosing the hardest path because it's the one that protects what matters most. The emergency custody hearing is scheduled for Friday morning, 3 days away. Diane spends every hour preparing, organizing documents, writing statements, rehearsing answers. She's meticulous, leaving nothing to chance. But Thursday afternoon, something changes. She's checking news coverage when she sees a new interview. Victoria Hale sitting in her living room, talking to a sympathetic lifestyle magazine reporter. Diane turns up the volume. Victoria looks perfect. Cream sweater, subtle makeup, soft lighting, almost angelic. "This has been the most difficult time of my life," Victoria says, voice trembling. "To see my husband accused, to watch our foundation destroyed by false allegations, it's devastating." The reporter leans forward. "You maintain your innocence?" "Absolutely. Edward made some accounting errors, perhaps, but no criminal intent. We've dedicated our lives to helping children." Victoria's eyes glisten. "And now we're being crucified. What about Noah Bennett?" Victoria's face softens. "Noah is like a son to me. We took him in when no one else would. We gave him a home, education, future. And now people are trying to use him as a weapon against us. There are allegations about his placement being improper. Completely false. His grandmother couldn't care for him. She signed over custody willingly. We have all legal documentation." Victoria looks at the camera. "That child is loved. He is safe, and I will fight to protect him from people who want to exploit this situation." Diane's hands clench into fists. Victoria positions herself as victim, devoted caregiver being attacked. She never mentions Diane by name, but the implication is clear. It's masterful, calculated, designed to generate sympathy. Patricia calls. "Did you see the interview?" "Watching now." "This changes things. She's ahead of the narrative. Tomorrow in court, the judge will have seen this. Victoria's positioned herself as Noah's protector. What do? We need to shift strategy, undermine her credibility, publicly, not just in court." "How? Do you have recordings? Anything contradicting what she just said?" Diane thinks about her files. Hours of audio from the estate. "Yes, I have something." That evening, Diane, Marcus, and Patricia listen to audio files. Victoria's voice. "Noah photographs beautifully, very sympathetic. Donors respond well to him." Another clip. "We should prepare him for the event, make sure he knows what to say." The gala recording. Victoria's cold voice as she hands Diane the microphone. The deliberate humiliation. Patricia looks up. This is gold. This completely contradicts her interview. Shows her using Noah as a prop, humiliating staff, her real character. How do we use it? We give it to Jennifer, let her publish it as ongoing investigation. It becomes news, not personal attack. Tonight, before tomorrow's hearing. Diane hesitates. This is warfare. "She's lying," Marcus says quietly. "She's lying to protect herself, using Noah. She doesn't get to control the narrative anymore." "She already knows it came from you," Patricia points out. "You're filing custody tomorrow." This levels the playing field. Diane opens her email and attaches the files. Her finger hovers over send. She thinks about Noah, about Victoria's performance positioning herself as his savior. about standing in that ballroom with a microphone, being humiliated. She clicks send. Jennifer calls 20 minutes later. This is explosive. Can I verify it's authentic? Every word, recorded over 3 years. I can have this online in 2 hours. But Diane, once this goes live, Victoria will come after you with everything. Let her try. I'm done being silent. The article publishes at 10 p.m. Behind the mask, audio recordings reveal Victoria Hale's true character. The recordings speak for themselves. Victoria's cold calculation about Noah, her casual cruelty, the gala humiliation in full detail. Within an hour, the story is everywhere. Social media explodes. The sympathetic interview is reframed as manipulation. By midnight, Victoria's lawyer claims the recordings are out of context and potentially illegal, but the damage is done. Diane lies in bed, staring at her phone as notifications flood in. "Do you feel better?" Marcus asks. "No, but I feel ready. For tomorrow, for whatever comes next." She sets her phone down. "I'm not trying to destroy her anymore. I'm just making sure she can't destroy us first." What's the difference? Intent. "I'm doing this so when we walk into court tomorrow, the judge sees the truth. So Noah has a chance at a real home. So we can be the family we're supposed to be." Marcus kisses her forehead. "Then let's get some sleep. Tomorrow we bring our son home." Diane closes her eyes, but sleep doesn't come easily. She thinks about Noah in his room, probably unable to sleep too, probably scared and confused. "Hold on," she thinks, "just a little longer. I'm coming for you." Tomorrow, everything changes. The courtroom is smaller than Diane expected. Plain wooden benches, fluorescent lights, American flag in the corner. Judge Martha Brennan presides, grey hair pulled back, reading glasses on her nose. Diane sits with Patricia. Across from them, Victoria sits with her expensive attorney. Victoria doesn't look at Diane, not once. But Diane can feel the rage radiating off her. Judge Brennan looks up. "This is an emergency petition for custody filed by Diane Carter regarding Noah Bennett, currently in care of Victoria Hale." "Proceed." Patricia stands. "Your Honor, my client worked in the Hale household for 3 years and developed a significant relationship with Noah Bennett. She's here because she believes his current placement is both fraudulent and harmful." "What evidence?" Patricia presents documents methodically. The settlement with Noah's grandmother. Foundation communications treating Noah as a fundraising asset. Legal manipulation, keeping him classified as an orphan. And then the recordings. Victoria's voice fills the courtroom, discussing Noah's photogenic qualities and donor appeal. Victoria's attorney stands. "Your Honor, these recordings were obtained illegally." "This is family court, not criminal trial," Judge Brennan interrupts. "I'll allow it. Continue." Patricia presents character references for Diane. Letters from neighbors, financial records, home study report, marriage certificate. "My clients are prepared to provide Noah with a stable, loving home." Victoria's attorney stands again. "Your Honor, my client has cared for Noah over a year, provided every advantage. Ms. Carter is a terminated employee. This is clearly motivated by resentment." "Is that true?" Judge Brennan looks at Diane. "Were you fired?" Diane stands, voice steady. "Yes, Your Honor. I was fired after accidentally spilling wine on Mrs. Hale. She humiliated me publicly, then terminated my employment." "And you're not doing this out of anger?" "I'm angry about a lot of things. I'm angry Noah was separated from his grandmother for fundraising. I'm angry he's treated like a prop. I'm angry no one cares about what he needs." She pauses. "But I'm not asking for custody because I'm angry. I'm asking because I love him. Because he deserves a family that sees him as a person, not a symbol." Judge Brennan studies her, then turns to Victoria. "Mrs. Hale, anything to say?" Victoria stands, perfectly composed. "Your Honor, I love Noah like my own son. Yes, The foundation used his story in fundraising, but that doesn't diminish our care. Ms. Carter is mistaken about his grandmother. The woman couldn't provide adequate care. Then why was she paid to relinquish custody? Victoria's composure cracks slightly. That was a settlement to cover legal fees. Standard procedure. $30,000 in legal fees? The hearing continues another hour. Arguments, documentation, testimony. Finally, Judge Brennan holds up her hand. I've heard enough. Brief recess to review materials, 30 minutes. The wait is excruciating. Diane sits in the hallway with Marcus, holding his hand. Patricia paces. Victoria stands at the opposite end with her attorney. When they're called back, Judge Brennan's expression is unreadable. I've reviewed all evidence and made my decision. Diane's heart pounds. However, before I rule, I'm going to suggest something unusual. I'm giving both parties an opportunity to negotiate a settlement outside court. Patricia leans forward. Your Honor? Mrs. Hale, your foundation is under federal investigation. Your husband arrested. The publicity is considerable. Judge Brennan looks at Victoria. Ms. Carter has evidence that could make your situation significantly worse. She turns to Diane. And Ms. Carter, you're asking for custody of a child you have no legal relationship to. Even with compelling evidence, this is uphill. The state may intervene regardless of my ruling. What are you suggesting? Work out an agreement, a private settlement serving Noah's best interests without further litigation. Judge Brennan removes her glasses. Because here's what I see. A child used as a pawn by adults pursuing their own interests. Two women who both claim to care about him, but are about to drag him through a very public, ugly legal battle. Silence. I'm giving you until Monday. Work with your attorneys. Come back with a proposal prioritizing this child's well-being. If you can't agree, I'll make the decision. And I promise you won't like it, because I'm inclined to remove him from both your care and place him in state custody. She stands. Court adjourned until Monday at 9 a.m. Patricia and Victoria's attorney huddle immediately. Marcus squeezes Diane's hand. What just happened? The judge is giving us a chance to get Noah without destroying everything around him. Will Victoria agree? Diane looks at Victoria, who stares back with undisguised hatred. She will if she's smart, because I still have evidence I haven't released, and she knows it. The settlement takes all weekend to negotiate. Patricia and Victoria's attorney exchange calls, emails, proposals. Diane and Marcus wait in their apartment, while lawyers argue over legal language. The final agreement is reached Sunday evening at 7. Victoria will voluntarily relinquish custody of Noah Bennett to Diane and Marcus Carter. In exchange, Diane won't release additional evidence. The settlement includes confidential payment for Noah's education and medical expenses through age 18. Patricia calls to explain. It's not perfect. The confidentiality clause means you can't speak publicly, but you get Noah legal custody, permanent placement. What about his grandmother? She's been contacted, agreed to supervised visitation once Noah's settled. She admits she wasn't capable of full-time care, but she wants to be in his life. When can we bring him home? Monday afternoon, after the judge approves. That night, Diane and Marcus prepare the spare bedroom, the one they painted yellow years ago. Waiting for a child they thought would never come, they take down the disassembled crib, move in a twin bed with blue comforter, build a bookshelf and fill it with dragon stories, hang curtains that let in morning light. Marcus stands in the doorway when they're finished. It's ready. We're ready, Diane corrects. Monday morning they return to court. Judge Brennan reviews the settlement, asking questions. Victoria signs without looking at Diane. Her hand shakes slightly. This agreement is approved, Judge Brennan says. She looks at Diane. You understand you're taking on full parental responsibility? Yes, Your Honor. Then custody of Noah Bennett is hereby transferred to Diane and Marcus Carter, effective immediately. Diane's eyes fill with tears. Marcus takes her hand. They drive to Sharpwood Estate one last time. Maria answers, smiling. He's been asking about you every day. Where is he? In his room. Packing. Diane climbs the stairs. She reaches Noah's door and knocks. Come in. Noah sits on his bed, surrounded by his few possessions. He looks up, eyes wide. Diane? She kneels in front of him. Hi, sweetheart. Are you real? I'm real. And I came to take you home. Home where? Home with us. With me and Marcus. We have a room ready. Blue curtains, dragon stories, space for all your drawings. Forever? Forever. He throws his arms around her neck, sobbing. Months of fear pouring out. Diane holds him. It's okay, you're safe now, I've got you. Marcus kneels beside them. We've both got you, you're our son now. They stay tangled together for a long time. Finally, Noah pulls back. Can we go now? Absolutely, let's go home. They pack his things into 2 small suitcases. Everything he owns fits easily. As they descend the stairs, Victoria appears in the foyer. She looks diminished, hair pulled back simply, minimal makeup. Noah, she says. He stops, pressing closer to Diane. Victoria opens her mouth, then closes it. Finally, she just nods once. Diane guides Noah toward the door. They don't say goodbye. They load his suitcases. He climbs in back, looking around with wonder. As they drive away, Noah twists to look back. I'm not sad. I thought I'd be sad, but I'm not. That's okay, Marcus says. You don't have to feel any particular way. I'm just glad Diane came back. She promised she would. And she did. Diane reaches back and takes his hand. I always keep my promises. 6 months pass. Edward sentenced to 8 years. Victoria sells the estate and moves away. The foundation is permanently dissolved. The story fades from news. The city moves on. Noah starts school, makes friends, joins art club. His nightmares become rare, then stop. He calls them Mum and Dad now. It took 3 months before he felt safe enough, but once he started, he never stopped. They visit his grandmother monthly. Patricia Bennett's face lights up every time. He brings drawings. She tells him stories about his mother. It's not perfect, nothing is, but it's real, and theirs, and built on truth. Diane still thinks about that ballroom sometimes, standing with the microphone, humiliated, forced to thank the woman destroying her. How powerless she felt. Then she thinks about Noah sleeping safely, Marcus reading bedtime stories, the ordinary miracle of their small family. Some people humiliate to feel powerful. Others stay silent, gather evidence, wait for the right moment, and fight for what matters. Diane chose the second path, and she won. 2 years after the custody hearing, Diane receives a letter from the court. It's a request for testimony at a civil proceeding related to the final dissolution of the Hope for Tomorrow Foundation. Several families seeking restitution. The state wants proper asset distribution. The hearing is scheduled at the county courthouse, the same building where she fought for Noah. When Diane walks into the courthouse on a cold Tuesday morning, she realizes nothing will feel routine. The hearing room is larger, wood-paneled walls, high ceilings, a gallery filled with people, and there in the back row sits Victoria Hale. Diane stops in the doorway. Their eyes meet. Victoria looks different. Older, hair shorter, grayer, simple black suit, no jewelry. The polish is gone. She doesn't look away. Neither does Diane. Marcus touches Diane's elbow. You okay? Yes, Diane says, and she means it. The hearing begins. Lawyers present arguments. An accountant testifies. A state auditor explains procedures. Then Diane is called to the stand. The attorney asks straightforward questions about her employment, what she observed. Did you witness financial irregularities? Yes. Can you describe what you saw? Diane does, keeping answers factual, documents left on desks. Conversations overheard. numbers that didn't match. What motivated you to document these irregularities? Diane pauses. She could give a sanitized answer, but she's done with performing. I was trying to protect a child, Noah Bennett. I saw how he was being treated and I wanted to make sure he'd be safe. And you eventually sought custody? Yes. Why? Diane looks at Marcus, at the strangers listening, at Victoria in the back. Because he needed a family, and I needed to be his mother. Sometimes you don't choose love. It chooses you and you either answer or you don't. I answered. Victoria's former attorney stands. Ms. Carter, do you hold animosity toward Victoria Hale? Diane considers. 2 years ago, the answer would have been yes. But now with legal custody secured, with a life built on truth, the anger feels distant. No, I don't. Despite everything, the public humiliation, the termination, those things happened. They were wrong. But holding on to anger doesn't serve anyone, least of all Noah. He's happy now. We're a family. That's what matters. Walking back to her seat, she passes Victoria. Victoria reaches out slightly. Diane pauses. He's doing well, Diane says quietly. In case you wondered, he's thriving. Victoria's eyes fill with tears. Thank you. It's not forgiveness exactly, but it's acknowledgement, closure. The hearing concludes, assets distributed. The foundation's funds going to legitimate child welfare organizations. Diane and Marcus walk out into cold November sunshine. How do you feel? Marcus asks. Like I can finally stop looking back. Now I can let it go. They walk to their car. Diane checks her phone and sees a text from Noah's teacher with a photo. A detailed dragon drawing breathing flowers instead of fire. In careful letters, my family is my castle. Love, Noah. Diane shows Marcus. He smiles. That kid. Our kid, Diane corrects. They drive home through familiar streets, past the library, past Noah's school, past the park. Their apartment is modest, nothing like the estate, but the walls are covered with Noah's artwork. The refrigerator cluttered with spelling tests. The living room has a fort that's been standing for 3 days. It's messy and loud and full of life. It's home. That evening, after homework and dinner, Diane tucks Noah into bed. Mom? Yes, sweetheart? I had a good day today. I'm glad. Do you think I'll have a good day tomorrow too? I think so. And even if tomorrow is hard, we'll get through it together. That's what families do. I love you, Mom. I love you too, baby. She stays until his breathing evens out. Then she walks quietly to the doorway. Marcus is waiting. He okay? He's perfect. As Diane gets ready for bed, she catches her reflection. She looks different. New lines around her eyes from smiling. Her posture different, no longer the careful invisibility she cultivated. She looks like a woman who fought for something and won. She looks like a mother. She thinks about that ballroom night one last time. The microphone, Victoria's cold smile. 300 people watching. If she could go back, would she change it? No, because that night was the moment she understood that silence isn't powerlessness. That being underestimated is sometimes an advantage, that the weakest seeming people often end up changing everything. Victoria wanted to make her feel small. Instead, she made her dangerous. Now, 2 years later, Victoria has lost her foundation, reputation, constructed life, while Diane has gained the only thing that ever really mattered, a family. She climbs into bed next to Marcus. He pulls her close. What are you thinking about? That we made it. All 3 of us. We made it to the other side. In the next room, Noah sleeps peacefully, dreaming of dragons and castles and families that keep promises. And in a modest apartment, a woman who was once invisible has built a life that matters. Not because she was the loudest or most powerful, but because she stayed silent when silence was strategic, because she gathered evidence when others were careless, because she fought for love when revenge would have been easier. Because she knew real power isn't about humiliating others, it's about protecting what matters. 3 years after the gala, Diane stands outside the same courthouse where everything changed. It's a beautiful spring morning. Cherry blossoms drift across the sidewalk like pink snow. She's here for Noah's official adoption finalization, the last legal step in making permanent what's been true in their hearts for years. Marcus waits by the car, talking to Noah, who's dressed in his favorite button-down shirt, the one with tiny dragons printed on it. A black town car pulls up to the curb. Victoria Hale steps out. She's here for a final hearing regarding the foundation's closure, their paths crossing one last time purely by chance. They stand on opposite sides of the sidewalk, Victoria in her subdued suit, Diane in a simple dress, holding adoption papers. Victoria looks at her for a long moment. No words pass between them. None are needed. Then Noah calls out, "Mom, Dad says we're going to be late." Diane smiles and turns away from Victoria, walking toward her family. She doesn't look back. Some people humiliate to feel powerful. Others stay silent and change everything. Diane chose silence and won everything that mattered. If this story touched you, share it, comment, and subscribe for more soul-warming stories.